Brothers, how you going? Hope my video finds you well. This little girl is sitting down in the classroom. The teacher tells all the kids to draw something. She starts drawing with a little pencil on a bit of paper there. The teacher comes on over and says to the little girl, "What are you drawing there?" The little girl goes, "I'm drawing God." The teacher goes, "Look, nobody's ever seen God, so nobody knows what God looks like." The little girl says, "They will in a minute." When we're young, we believe we can do anything. We feel we can do anything, and in reality we just about can do anything given time. You can be good at just about anything in this life if you give it enough energy. I wanted to be a singer when I was in my 20s. I wasn't born with any natural talent. I'm definitely not a musician. Not really, compared to some. That's what I wanted to do, and God, nobody was going to stop me. And I worked my ass off, and I went to Europe and I played harmonica and I sang and I told jokes and stories. Guess what? It's one of the best times of my life. Unbelievable. There were better musicians over there. There were better singers than me. But I reckon I had the most fun out of everybody. I travelled more than anybody. I travelled so much that Guinness, and I'm not talking about the Guinness Book of Records, I'm talking about Guinness, the drink, the company that make it, they gave me an award for the most travelled musician in Europe for 2002, and I've still got the certificate on the wall. You can achieve whatever you want to in this life if you really believe in what you're doing. You've got to have self-belief. This is the thing. Fear is the thief of dreams. You will find that people will come along and say to you, "You can't do that, Clay." Well, I found that anyway. Like that little girl. They will in a minute. They know what God looks like. I like that story. It's an old one, but a goodie. I lay in a hospital bed, as many of you know, a couple of years ago, fighting for my life with a cancer that was probably going to kill me, advanced cancer. And I had such a will to live and to achieve more of life and embrace life. I just didn't want to die. Nobody wants to really die. Well, that's not quite true. Some people find living so difficult they think it's a way out, but it's not a way out. They just transfers the pain onto all the people that love you. That's not a way out. And I fought really hard. I had the most excruciating pain. I'd be unconscious, and then I'd wake up in this horrendous pain where I thought about taking my life. It was so bad, but I really wanted to live, and I fought tooth and nail, not just by putting it in the hands of the authorities, and when I say the authorities, I mean the medical profession is what I really mean to say by that. Well, the ones that have the authority to cut you open and cut bits out and do this. Not just that, but doing my own due diligence. I've spent a lot of money talking to a lot of specialists. I wasn't just going to look on Google and find out what was the best way to survive this bloody cancer. I paid specialists, and I travelled around the country, and I listened to those that knew better than me. And of course, the rest's history now. One of the doctors who I listened to the most, Dr. Glenn Davies at Taupo Medical Centre, who you've probably heard me mention his name before, he was the one that got me on the ketogenic diet. And if you're a man my age, you've got any health conditions, then explore that. I believe it will change your entire life. There are so many men with so many testimonies around me now that have great stories, and some of them will be in future posting on this channel, hopefully. It's not about losing weight, it's about becoming healthy. And when you've got cancer and your body's depleted of hemoglobin because you've lost 1.5 litres of blood, and you've been doing battle with infection, and you've lost a lot of your muscle mass, and you've had horrendous pain, and you're on a slippery downward slope to death, you start to listen to specialists. You start to take notes. It's only really in a crisis that we dig deep and we find the answers to the problems. We find the solutions to the problems. And for me, it was the ketogenic diet, and it was fasting. But I'm not going to rattle on about what I believe about that. I'll let you do your own investigation. The chances of being born a human being are 1 out of 400 trillion. I'll say that again. The chance of you being born a human being is 1 chance out of 400 trillion. Your mother gave birth to you. That cost her a lot of pain, cost her a lot of calcium out of her bones to raise you and feed you her milk. Cost your parents lots of hard work to raise you, bring you into this world. And if you didn't have parents to do it, it cost somebody. You didn't just arrive just all by yourself. Now you're an adult, you have a responsibility to look after this vessel that you travel around in. If you're a hunter like me, or if you're a sportsman, somebody who uses your body a lot like we're designed to use our bodies, whether you're doing martial arts or dance or running or rugby or boxing or anything physical, if you're a farmer working out in the paddock, anybody that's living a physical life, then you have a responsibility to yourself to look after this vessel that's going to carry you for the next 70, 80, 90 years if you're lucky. That starts with diet, sleep, mindset, looking after relationships in your life with people that you love, taking care of them, nurturing them, being empathetic, caring about people, and working hard for those around you, adding value to their lives, and in return your own world becomes a more special place. Not just a life, but a life full of quality. You start to have people come in close to you, and they start to inspire you. And they take time out of their day. There's a whole lot of wild goats on the side of the road there. I just thought, I can't stop looking at game, being a hunter. I thought it might have been a pig. I'm driving to Murchison right now. But you create this world that you live in. You create it yourself. Think about the people that you really love the most. They're generally the ones that give of you, and they're empathetic towards you, and they care about you. And what do? You want for them back the best. You can do just about anything you want with your life, but you've got to take responsibility for it. When I was really sick, I went to Dr. Glenn Davies at the Taupo Medical Centre, and I said to him, "What are my chances, Glenn?" He said, "Well, no one really knows, but I'll tell you this. Statistics show that people that survive cancer, the survivors, all share one thing in common. They all have taken control of their life. They've all taken control of their disease. They've said, right, this is what we're going to do." So part of that mindset sets the body in motion for survival. That's cool, isn't it? You're not only going to survive, you're going to thrive. And here I am, 2 years and 3 months later, with a bull tar cape in its head in the back of the truck and its meat, 3 pigs all cut up, driving home after 4 days, hunting in steep terrain, hard country. Okay, my body's not what it used to be, and it never will be after what it's been through, but it's good enough to get out and keep living and doing what I love. Yes, I suffer still sometimes, physically, but I don't let that drag me down. When I was in the Chatham Islands 2.5 years ago, I did one last trip before I went in for surgery because I wanted to fulfill a dream on my bucket list in case I didn't survive it. I wanted to go hunting and fishing on the Chatham Islands. So what did I do? Well, I made it happen. And I also paid to take another young fellow with me, young Cuzzy. I wanted to use my resources to share something with someone else. We got to the Chatham Islands, we landed, and I thought, wow, whatever happens after surgery, now I've been to the Chathams, now I've got to go and do some pig hunting. Second day I went out and we did some pig hunting. It was amazing. And then I went diving. I've never dived on the Chatham Islands. A wee tiny Hawaiian spear, and I speared some, what were they, butterfish? Moki? That was awesome. I ate crayfish raw. Did a lot of things that I always wanted to do. And that 7 days I filled up with as much as I could. And while I was on the Chatham Islands, I saw these trees, and they're sort of shaped like that, because the wind's so harsh it blows them. I thought about that, those trees, to survive in those harsh winds on that island. First of all, the seed goes into the ground, and it almost gets blown away. And by some miraculous thing of nature, it puts down its tiny little tap roots and gets its tap root in the ground, but still it's getting hounded and hounded by the wind. And those trees, they grow up so windblown, and a lot of them don't make it. That adversary, that wind that's just pounding them all the time. But they grow strong, and they can handle the storms, the ones that survive, because they're shaped that way away from the main wind that blows through there. And somehow they manage to survive and live a life, creating carbon, well, actually creating oxygen. Trees are carbon, that's what they're made of. There's something interesting. You plant a tree in a pot that big, and 10 years later, it's like 10 times as big as a pot. Where did it get its energy from? The dirt? No. The soil? What is it made up of? Carbon. Trees breathe in carbon, they breathe out oxygen. So that tree's creating oxygen, it's taking the carbon from the atmosphere, and it's growing in this incredibly hostile environment. It's the same for us. We have something go really wrong in our life, something, whether it's we lose somebody we really love, we lose our partner, we lose our child. It does happen. We lose a limb or a body function. We lose all our money, or we lose our home, or we lose our job. We lose something that's really dear to us. Maybe it's our pet, our dog, or our cat. Or maybe it's just something that we really dreamed of that we just can't have. That's like that wind trying to blow something away from you, take it away. You've got to become like that tree. You've got to make that opportunity to be stronger. Today's Bro Chick Club video is thoughts off the top of my head. I'm making it. I'm fatigued. It's Saturday. I left on Tuesday. I haven't had that much sleep, not that much food. But I'm totally content and feeling like I'm still moving in the right direction. And I believe what I'm saying to you, if you take on board, particularly as far as diet goes, but also mindset, looking after relationships, looking after sleep, looking after exercise, those things. I totally believe that your life can be a lot better if you're not looking after those things now. You have two choices to make. You can choose to take control. Do you want to take control? I'll ask you the question, do you really want to take control of your life? Or do you want to let everything around you control you? It takes discipline to take control. If you do take control, life will eventually be easier, and there'll be less suffering, and you will achieve more, and you will eventually have succeeded in being in a place where you truly want to be, and you'll obtain excellence in all manner of things. It will just fall into, this nature just fall into place. Go steady. I'm going to go and get a drink because I'm parched. Oh, I'm in range now, back in humanity. I can even see in this. See you later.